Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and today I've got a TvZ coming up on Polar Nights. It's from a replay pack by one of the two players. I'll tell you that at the end though, not to give it away. Spawning down in the south position is the red Terran player who, although playing under a barcode, I can assure you is Jjakji from My Insanity. And his opponent up in the north is the blue Zerg representing it's NesTea. So this is a pretty awesome game. Polar Nights, of course, is a really funky map, mainly due to the fact that the natural base is so short, yet so wide. It's quite amusing. It's like some of those little smart cars you see, which just seem like way too tall for how long they are. I hate cars like that. Anyway, so far at the moment, Jjakji just going for a pretty normal opening, sending a SCV scout nice and early. Meanwhile, Overlord scout coming across. Of course, on Polar Night, you've got two great places you can stick down an Overlord scout at the back of the natural, where you can see everything. You can actually get vision of the natural base when and if it gets taken, gas timings, etc, etc. And yeah, other cool things to note is you've got some ice blocks coming around to the back. There's a hidden base at the back, but it's covered by ice, which makes it a right pain for Zerg players to use as a third. Most Zerg would expand down to this right position, but oh my goodness, it's an 11-11 2-racks. Oh, okay, this is going to be fun times. I thought it was just going to be a scout, but no, it's not. Got a little bit of cheese coming down here. How is NesTea going to react to this? Waiting for the second barracks to get started. There we go. So, this is now potentially going to be a very, very quick game. NesTea is not going to scout this, I don't think. There is an Overlord moving, but I can't see its rally point to know if it's actually going to keep going or if it's just stopping up on this high ground here. It could be. Is it going to keep going? Is it going to see it, NesTea? No! Oh, no, here we go. Okay, it is moving very, very slowly. There we go, spots it. So now knows exactly what's coming down, but unfortunately, open hatch first, as you normally would. This is where you have to be very cautious. Now, the big thing that NesTea has to watch out for is if a bunker gets placed, because if a bunker gets up, you're going to have a nightmare over time. So we'll probably see NesTea pull a drone or two just to make sure no bunker is able to be made and secured up. Drone now coming out, sees the SCV, going to start trying to force it back. Second drone should be able to force it really into a retreat, unable to do much at all, but Marines already on their way. The first one getting its way over. Of course, we see here NesTea coming in with the Overlord, knows that it's a 2-racks, even though he's only seen, I believe, no, he has seen both of them, so he does know that's coming. Drone's getting pulled, and Jjakji got a bit of a problem here, because it's been scouted. He can't successfully get down a bunker yet. NesTea pulling a lot of drones though, so this is wasting mining time, but it means that probably won't lose the game here as long as he plays this right, as long as he prevents the bunker going up. But the SCV's coming in. This is a lot of drones. It is already 12 of them sitting there at the front. The hatchery is now up. Queen's on the way. Zergling's on the way. So while it's losing mining time, remember, this is going to be a very awkward build for Jjakji to transition out of. But for the moment, the SCV just still trying to find just a small window of opportunity. With the creep spread pushing forward, it doesn't look like it's going to be very successful for the Terran player here. Two more Marines are still pumping out. Grand total currently up to 5 of them on the field. But the drone count already looking fairly good. 17 to 14 SCVs down for the Terran player. No gas taken, and note as well, the main base has only got a single drone there. All the other drones pulled down to the natural just in case they were needed to defend. But barracks floating back, Jjakji realizing he's not going to be able to make it work, and is trying to switch things up by dropping down a quick command center there. Meanwhile, Spine Crawler, NesTea's still not confident that he's completely out of the danger yet. Keeping a couple of lings about, hasn't checked to see whether both barracks has gone. Just saw one has gone, so can probably assume they are both floating back. But all in all, this is NesTea going to be very happy. Cancels the Spine Crawler knowing he's safe. And now just needs to make sure that he sets the drone rally point back up to the main so he can repopulate that mineral line ASAP. A little bit of a Zerg counterattack coming through, but with a bunker on its way, it's going to be pretty close, but I think the Zerg should be able to get over there. A third command center trying to come down here from Jjakji. There's a good number of Marines though, so even though the production has been halted while the barracks have been returning back home, it's still more than enough to just force those back at the moment. The watchtower being held. No gases yet, just the first one popping out now for NesTea. Going to be starting up Zergling speed probably pretty quickly. Meanwhile, for Jjakji, 2 guys have now been taken, and he's just sitting there looking at things going fairly standard. Third CC also on its way down. The wall of finally getting completed. Note there's an Overlord sitting at the back here, just ready to be sacrificed in if he needs to get some scouting information. Really though, the only thing that NesTea hasn't seen or can't deduce is that the third command center's there. That's the kind of critical bit of information, and would usually prompt a Zerg to go and take a slightly faster third, which should be coming down in the next minute or so. We've got the drone getting pulled, so right on time, around that kind of 6 minutes 30 to 7 minute mark is the best time to get up a third against the Terran player usually, so all looking good. Plus, with these rocks at the back getting taken out, it just means that NesTea's going to be able to secure up a fourth base very safely and very securely pretty quickly. Did try to send an Overlord forward there, but there's a Marine on patrol, just making sure it's not going to be able to sneak through. Stim, of course, going to be very late, just due to the opening that came down from Jjakji at the moment, but with Metabolic Boost, and of course the second Extractor on its way, this is just transitioning very comfortably for NesTea at the moment. The Baning Nest getting thrown down, so Zergling, Baning, Mutalisk up against Terran is to be expected. And other than that, things now going a bit more down a standard path. Note though, the Jjakji very low on the SCV count, only 28 to 44. But with this third Orbit Command about to be put in, that's a lot of drops potentially coming down. Nice little scan here, sees the Baning Nest, sees the double evolution chamber, and therefore is aware of really everything that's coming down. But it shouldn't come as a surprise. Really just checking to see if there's anything too freaky occurring, scanning the natural just to see any kind of good tech, anything down the front, any kinds of walled offs or things like that, but also because at a high level of play, a lot of Zerg players favour getting down their lair with the natural just for the increased health that it gives, so that's quite a smart play there by Jjakji. Overlord is still not able to get in because the Marine's still busy patrolling around with a whole ton more behind it. We do of course have the factory and reactor coming down, but no starport yet, so all of the tech has been delayed, but double engineering bay getting thrown down will allow for quick upgrades from the Terran player, leveling it out with what the Zerg is doing, and therefore should lead to a good advantage in the mid game, especially against Mutalisks. That's where the infantry attack upgrade comes in so important, and why you hear casters a lot of the time make a big fuss about +3 infantry attack come down in TvZ. It's purely because the Marines therefore will be doing 3 more damage a hit, and Mutalisks unlikely to have got the armor upgrade. So that's all fairly good, fairly safe. We've got a couple of speedlings just running around, not too much in terms of army value on either side, both focusing on getting as much tech and as much economy down at the moment that they can. A few banelings getting morphed in defensively. The watchtowers, just noticing now a small move out of Marines. Even the Zergling that was at the watchtower running back out to make sure that it stays alive. It doesn't actually alert Jjakji that NesTea is aware that this push is coming, because if he was aware that it was coming, he may not move down, whereas these banelings could potentially now catch these Marines off guard and deal a good amount of damage. So definitely something you want to be keeping an eye out for. Bunker coming down though, as Jjakji has secured up his third. Double upgrades are coming down. Note though, the first 2 medevacs only just now about to hit the field, so they're quite delayed. Fourth getting started up though for NesTea here. His lair only now 25 seconds through, and that's really late. If we think that it's started at roughly the 10-minute mark, much later than you generally see that upgrade, the upgrade come down there. So this just means Mutalisk going to be delayed. +2 going to be slightly later, but the ground army and the tech and the economy slightly better at the moment for NesTea. But the Valens have shown themselves. Scan goes down, trying to pick off a couple of these creep tuners, trying to see when things move in. Will need to lift here. The Valens do get a connection, but NesTea unable to get everything quite yet. These Valens are getting very close, but a quick pickup means Jjakji's able to get out of there and keep most of his army alive. Of course, the fourth base happily staying on its way down. We've got the third already nearly fully saturated, taking the gases there too, plus a macro hatchery. Interesting placement of this macro hatch at the fourth. Sorry, the third. The reason that's interesting is most of the time you see it up in the main, but the reason we're not is because putting it here is actually a more centralized location, which will just allow things to get in, and also the main is very vulnerable to being dropped due to this huge amount of dead space, so you don't want to put too much up there, and it's also why we're seeing a spine and a spore put up in the main base, just to try and keep that a little safer from any drops that could be coming down. Spire getting started up, no 2-2 yet for Jjakji, whereas of course 2-2 instantly getting started, 2-2 started for Jjakji, no 2-2 for NesTea is what I meant to say, and that's all pretty much expected. A small drop coming down into the main base. A few drones are going to get sniped out. That Spore Caller tries to do some damage, unfortunately not doing much. Simultaneously though, Valens do get a detonation by the right hand watchtower, and all in all NesTea controlling that quite nicely, doing his utmost just to make sure that not too much damage was done. Only 3 drones have been killed this entire game so far, so very low in terms of losses. Both players, well, losing around the 1,500 resources mark, so not much. In fact, Widowmine getting a kill there, being a bit of a hero, but still, only managing to slightly supply block NesTea, but with 7 more Overlords on the way, that's soon going to get rectified. And well, this is now thoroughly in the mid game. We've got Baning Speed, we've got the Spire done. Mutalisks probably going to be getting their way out soon. Of course, Overlord Speed done, ready for those Mutalisks to work with the Overlords to get a little bit of Widowmine picking off, going down. Interestingly, the Widowmine count is pretty low. There's only 5 of them on the field for the moment, 2 with the forward army. These are essential just to make sure you can snipe off some of these Banelings and Zerglings, but everything looking good for the time being. Creep spread going okay. Could be being a bit more active over the top way, but scans and most of the aggression from Jjakji coming from the south. Gonna try and get in to pick off this third, but it's making the defense, therefore, pretty easy for NesTea at the moment, just able to spread round. He's got a decent number of overseers, he's got his Mutalisks there ready to pick off any mines. This Queen duking out with a Marine will be successful in winning that fight, but now very low. Luckily though, that's only for spreading creep and nothing more. 4th base up and running. The 7th and 8th gas geysers though are yet to actually be used, so definitely want to see that gas be utilised pretty quickly by NesTea. Jjakji still pushing forward, trying to make sure the creep doesn't spread too far, just trying to keep vision of the map as best he can, but a lot of Zerglings, a lot of Banelings moving forward, but probably not going to be able to surround this army. There's so many Widow Mines now spread out very effectively, they'll be difficult to engage. Drilling Claws coming down from Jjakji. He's got, of course, the 2-2 upgrades about to finish up. Bear in mind, 2-2 only just now starting for NesTea. That's going to be quite a big upgrade lead for the Terran player. Hopefully he'll be able to utilise it. For the moment, NesTea plowing forward. Banelings do get some detonations down. Those Widowmine hits weren't the best ever, and that means that actually it could have been pretty bad for, of course, the Terran player, but luckily NesTea pulling back momentarily, doesn't know how many Widow Mines are there, trying to keep the Overseers in a good position. A few Marines are coming down from the south. Widow Mine placement at the edge of this cliff just to make sure they can shoot up onto it as long as the vision's being granted by some Marines, so good play there by Jjakji. 3-3 upgrades immediately started. NesTea now sitting there, getting down the +1 air attack as well as those 2-2 upgrades, only about a third done for the time being. And with Jjakji securing up a 4th command center now, this is all looking pretty good. The Marines, Zerglings and Banelings all doing a nice little dance around this watchtower, trying to maintain the map control. No drops have been going on anytime soon for Jjakji or in the near past because there's just a good defense around here. Just a couple of Lings sitting at any direction the medevacs really could be trying to make their way through. But an attempt is going to come down, unfortunately. Probably won't be too successful with great vision from NesTea at the moment. But as Jjakji moves forward, we can see that simultaneously on the other side of the map, we've got NesTea moving around the side. Going to try and do a little bit of damage there, but is he going to be able to get into this third? Because the big move out of this army is actually putting it out of position, but it does open up the option for NesTea to get this round. Does Jjakji have enough mines to be able to stop this? Well, the Mutalisks are now coming in. We can see the medevacs getting taken down. The Banelings attempting to detonate are crushing through those Marines. That's the problem. Boosting away with the medevacs. That push shut down, but in the main base we've got a drop. Dealing a little bit of damage, but unfortunately too many Banelings will put an end to most of it. Couple of Mutalisks are chasing down the medevacs, but a Widow Mine is going to try and stop them. We'll take out one, but the other two happily chipping away at everything. One lone Marine attempting to stop the 5th being secured, but will not be successful in doing so. Unfortunately, that Mutalisk will go up against the bunker, which won't fare too well for it. The +2 air attack coming down. Note the 2-2 is now done, but 3-3 has not been started yet for NesTea, whereas 3-3 is nearly completed now for Jjakji, which is going to be putting him very comfortably ahead in terms of upgrades, especially with +2 vehicle and ship plating already on its way. The one advantage for NesTea though is that he's got the 4th base nearly taken, as the 3rd is only just being secured by the Terran. Sorry, 4th base for the Terran. This is actually bad. I forgot completely about this base here. So this is the 5th against the 4th, not the 3rd against the 2nd, but still, point still remains. Jjakji is only going to be 1 base down, so that's good news for NesTea. He's staying a base above, got a good economy there, sitting with a nice drone count, and actually trading relatively cost effectively, not too crazy, losing about 3,000 to 4,000 more resources compared to that of his opponent, but with such a solid income, doesn't need to worry too much about that. NesTea is now maxed out, so he's probably going to start becoming a bit more aggressive, moving in with a lot of Zerglings and Banelings. Jjakji's Widow Mines are nowhere to be seen, just scurrying forward at the moment. A big hit on a lot of SCVs there. We can see that 19 have been killed. The aggression coming to an end though, as most of the Banelings have been cleaned out. A retreat from NesTea opens up the door for Jjakji to go in for the counter aggression. Is he going to be able to do much damage? You've got 40 more Lings and 14 Banelings morphing in, as well as a couple of Spine Crawlers. But the Banelings aren't there yet. The Marines able to move forward with 3-3. They deal a huge amount of damage. Banelings are just now popping, but many of them getting focused down incredibly quickly. Jjakji with some fantastic plays, pushing back the Mutalisks block to while now powering straight forward in towards this 3rd. Going to be able to take it down and take out the macro hatch. A couple of Widow Mine hits go off. They are massive on that Mutalisk plot. All of them getting hit by the splash, forcing them to just fall back, sacrificing the 3rd, sacrificing the macro hatch. The 5th and 4th bases are still up. Will Jjakji go and try and end it here? Well, he's got a lot of momentum. 3-3 still has not been started yet for NesTea, who doesn't even have a hive at the moment, stuck on that mid-game tech, and this is really where Jjakji is able to get a lot of power through. He's going to come and knock out this 5th, putting himself a base up, and more critically, a mining base up too. So this is going to cause a problem, especially with the drop now coming down to the back of the main. Probably going to try and snipe off that spawning pool. If that goes down, it will be incredibly problematic. There was a spine crawler busy trying to work away at these Marines. But as long as the Marines back away a little, they should be okay. They're attempting to focus the spawning pool as quickly as possible. Is it going to fall? The medevacs are going down. The Mutalists able to clean it up. But still, Banelings rolling on forward. Jjakji keeping on the pressure. Going to try and get a nice little attack coming through here. But is in no rush. He knows his opponent's going to be struggling for income compared to him and can't just keep replenishing. The Banelings roll forward. Those some great detonations there. The Marines weren't split that much. A brilliant trade there for the Zerg. And unfortunately, that's going to force a retreat from Jjakji. The one plus side for him, though, is he's kept up a lot of those medevacs, currently sitting at 11 of them. So he's got a lot of healing potential, just can't heal through Baneling hits, unfortunately. Acid all over your body is not something that even medevacs can treat, unfortunately. Anyway, attempts of NesTea trying to take a couple more bases here, or retake those bases, should I say. And that really isn't the position you want to be in as a Zerg at the 22-minute mark, especially when you're completely out of gas and you're relying on Banelings to deal with those Marines at any moment, really. And so, Jjakji, gonna keep pushing forward, gonna try and deal any damage that he can without really losing too much of his army. It's up to NesTea to really have a response to this at this stage. As that goes down, well, the 4th place once more is not going to be cancelled. It just gets taken out. 300 more minerals lost, and NesTea really could have used. Note though, a counterattack coming in here. There's 3 missile turrets. Probably not going to be enough to deal with 23 Mutalists as they are focused down incredibly quickly, but Jjakji just doesn't care. He's moving on in. There's a lot of Overlords here getting taken down. NesTea is being hugely supply blocked, is going to lose this base at the back, putting him on only the single mining bases. His main is pretty much completely mined out. Planetary Fortress unfortunately will go down though, so there was at least a bit of counter damage done by NesTea's Mutalists there. But it's still a 3-base Terran up against a 2-base Zerg player. Always going to be a comfortable position for Jjakji now, as long as he doesn't die to a counter push. But let's face it, he is up hugely, 140 army supply to 73 of NesTea. That's a big advantage, and once he's dealt with this army on the ground for NesTea at the moment, unfortunately, the IM player doesn't actually have any money really left to remax. He can probably get out a small, large army, but not much. Incoming Marines, though, great spread from all angles. The Mutalists and Banelings trying to roll in, but the Banelings, while they do get some detonations, there's still so many Marines, though. Remember, those Marines are 3-3. They deal a hideous amount of damage to the Mutalisks, and the Mutalisks flock down now to only 14. Not as sizable as it was previously. 34 army supply to 110 of Jjakji, who is about to take out another attempt to re-expand. No cancel on that. NesTea does have a lot of minerals though. He's trying to come in and deal some counter damage. The Banelings are going to get some beautiful detonations there on the SCV line. Only 16 SCVs remain, but it's just the standing army for Jjakji at the moment is absolutely huge. Is there any way NesTea can shut that down? Will the Baneling count? Unfortunately, there are none on the field, and therefore GG is called, and Jjakji will be successful in taking down NesTea. Great game. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with yet another new game. I'm Madals, thanks for watching, and bye for now.